Hello.
Hi there. We're doing free water and free speech. It's not even a package deal. You can mix and match your own setup. We're doing street epistemology. That's where we ask you what you believe and why and what kind of authorities you have, and not argue from a different position.
Okay. We have a seat open.
Yeah.
If you would like.
First of all, are you involved in any supernatural religious organizations or recruiting?
We are not recruiting, and I am not a believer of the supernatural. I believe Reed is probably also not a believer of the supernatural. And we are not recruiting. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, I hear you. Definitely not unusual either.
There's a drink center right over here.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they help people who are homeless, but only if you're like Southern Baptist, prostitutes, if you're atheist or Muslim, they got no room for you.
Interesting.
It's sick.
Okay.
Most people who put signs up by the bus stop, the guy at the car,
Uh-huh.
repent, you're going to hell. That's why it's just normal to associate this with basically
Yeah, totally.
exploiting people.
We look just like a religious situation. We're not.
Who pays for this thing?
We do out of our own pocket, and also there's a nonprofit, Street Epistemology International, costing me as much.
Nice. So you just sit down, people sit down
Yeah,
and interview them?
and we're live streaming right now.
Live stream it?
We are live streaming. Come over here. I'll show you what I mean. If you see this right here, there is our wide camera from right there. Here is the ultra wide camera from over there.
Okay.
Here's the face to face. If you and I are talking, you'd be right there.
Nice.
And
Oh, this is the shit, man. Nice.
this is the shit. This is a great shit, and it's an all volunteer thing.
Whoa. Yeah. All right, sure.
Sure, have a seat.
All right. Should have been recording that right there.
We have been. We've run live
Oh,
streaming.
good. Well, that's
Now, the thing is, you weren't very close to the microphone, so they didn't hear you very
Oh,
much.
that's too bad. Shit. How do I? What do I do?
Have a sit. Put on the headphones.
I gotta put the headphones on.
Don't have to. And if you want to re-wipe them, that's fine.
Yeah, can I walk? I'm all right. I'll just wipe my hands when I'm done.
Okay. And here, and there's the wipes. Okay. Yeah, so you want to be very clean and careful. We're trying to wipe everything down between people. What's your name?
Jason Benke.
Okay, just Jason. Okay. Guest is Jason. Oh, yes. Hold on. You got it right. Hello, Jason.
Hello.
I'm Dali.
Hi, Dolly.
How's your day?
It's okay. It's warming up. It's my first time here.
Would you hit the button on the top of that? Or maybe Reed should do that.
Oh,
Would
to
you not
turn
want
that
to touch
on
it?
or
Yeah.
shut off? Okay.
Yeah. So we're live streaming and recording. You're okay with that?
Yes, I'm okay. Dolly, record this. Here we are.
Cool. So tell me something that you believe. Something that you think is true in the world.
Something I think is, I believe, something that's true in the world. Believe that we have evidence to suggest that we have a communal self-interest in helping each other, which
Okay.
is difficult to understand. We have individuality, but we're outside of a group of 4 people. So what I believe is that a group interest, and it's hard to reconcile this, but I believe that there is great benefit in having equitability, and there's actually a self-benefit for helping others that you can't really see or quantify because it's a How are you going to talk about this park or this bench? Or
Yeah.
so that's something that I believe that is a natural evolution to help people survive.
Okay.
You can't do it all yourself.
I hear that the claim is that we have evidence that it is good for us to be pro-social, to act in a societally cooperative way. What would the nature of this evidence be? If I had some of this evidence, what would it look like?
Or you can start with like breastfeeding. A baby can't survive by itself. Somebody else has to do that. That's sort of a natural sort of thing. Loving, you see this baby, oh, look at this cute little blob. Okay, that thing can't do any work.
Right.
We have, so, it starts at a level.
It needs constant help for years before it can even feed itself.
Yes, all of that is like love and kindness towards someone else. That's not yourself, but that's part of a bigger group.
Right.
That's how the species has evolved. So that's one example of evidence.
So evidence would be breastfeeding and the care that we give to young children.
Yes.
Okay, so that's an example of where I'm getting of where this pro-social cooperation is, well, it's so necessary, it's like critical to our lives. It's absolutely necessary. If we didn't have it, none of us would make it past 2.
Right.
Yeah. How about at our age?
At our age, what would you like? Another example?
Yeah, any kind of evidence that says that we should act cooperatively. Your claim is that we have evidence, and so I'm looking for what that would be.
Yeah, so evidence for people who are older, that was like the most basic, simple starting.
Yep.
So cooperatively, we have, I guess, I'm not sure if this qualifies. We have a division of labor as far as like food, systems. Everyone's sort of specialized. Oh, your plumbing breaks, you hire the plumber. You don't do that because you don't have that specialized skills. Oh, you want some corn? Oh, you want a cheesecake? You gonna milk a cow? No. We have all these divisions of things. It's in their sort of self-interest to have sort of a good product, I guess, as possible. So does that qualify as an example?
Yeah. So specialization of roles and skills,
education, and
allows
ability.
humanity to do way more things because we don't all have to know it. If somebody knows it, we can all use it together. So that makes us more powerful as a group, more capable, more resourceful.
Yes, it's sort of a. I originally started about speaking of kind of kindness, but it works for that too.
Okay.
No, that's not exactly kindness, milking a sheep so other people can have milk. But
well, I think it's kind to people who like milk.
Yeah, so it depends how you look at it.
Especially people who like milk and don't want to milk their own cow.
Right, and actually,
it's a real kindness.
Cows, they become domesticated. They actually need to be milked.
Oh yeah, totally.
What's the cow's possession?
Well, that cow needs to be milked, and if you don't, it'll hurt. That's no fun at all. They're bred for that. Now, as far as whether the cow likes it or consents, I have reason to think they like it enough because some of them line up with the milking machine at the right time.
Yeah.
So they're thinking, okay, this is a process I'm okay with, and I'm volunteering for it. I'm not sure that they consent in general, but it's easy to see some examples of consent for being milked.
Yes. What do you think?
Of which one?
I don't know. What's
the claim in general?
Yeah.
My confidence. So if this would be, no, there's no reason to think that we should be cooperative, and there's every reason to think we should be crazy cooperative. I'm about right there. You can see a tiny sliver of doubt, but it's hardly anything. Okay. I completely agree with you that it is important for us to act cooperatively. I think we are a social species. I think as you say, the breastfeeding and the care that the parents have to give to our children makes us unusually and especially social, like almost at the level of like ants and bees, in that they can't survive unless they act in this social way. Right. There's no independent life for a bee. I think with humans, we're not quite that far, but like there's very little independent life for a meerkat. Individual meerkats don't survive well. Individual humans, very poor survival rate, very poor thriving. So I'm completely in agreement with you. So where's your confidence on that scale?
My confidence on the statement that I said?
Yeah.
I believe it to be true.
Okay. Do you have any doubts? Is there anything that you could learn that would reduce your confidence in that?
I'm sure there's things I could learn that could undo that, or I'm sure I could learn things that might make me question some of that, or be sort of a stupid semantics game. But this is something that's been pretty well documented.
Yeah.
And if you don't agree, go ahead and move by yourself in the middle of nowhere.
Sure.
See how long you last. Not
Find
too
an
long.
empty spot. We're fine with that.
If you have
Go
to
ahead, be a hermit.
surrender all your tools. You don't. That wasn't made by you. I mean,
So a true hermit
yeah.
wouldn't even take the tools. They wouldn't even take the preparation with them.
Well, unless they made them. I'm saying, like, you didn't make those scissors. So if this was something, if you wanted to argue the counter argument to this, you'd say, look at the example of X, Y, and Z. These people have surrendered and said, fuck you to the whole world, and every single thing, I'm going to do it myself. Doesn't work.
Right.
I mean, any of these Ayn Rand reactionaries, that's exactly what they're talking about. You have to follow these arguments to the obvious limit, and it's not going to hold up.
Yeah, I don't see people thriving alone without a lot of preparation and use of the society.
Yeah, if it happened, we'd see it.
Yeah, I live on a boat a lot of the week, and so around me are people working on boats, and I think that's probably the example of somebody going out and being alone for weeks at a time, being completely self-sufficient on a boat that's at least a year's labor of somebody, with materials that cost a year's salary, with and so on, as you say. An amazing amount of preparation and tools and support from society to be able to get there, to then call yourself a hermit for a few weeks at a time. So it's a perfect example that it's such an extreme for somebody to be able to pull away and isolate as you're describing.
Yeah, but it's funny because this isn't exactly the same thing, but we are sort of pulling away sort of emotionally and interactively right now because of this COVID-19.
Yeah.
But still we have food and interactions. But yeah, I cannot think of a good example of some counter evidence. If there was,
Yeah. Okay, so it's almost silly to ask, but it's in my list of questions that seem like a good idea. Hypothetically, what could you learn that would increase your confidence, that would reduce that sliver of doubt?
What could I learn that would reduce?
Increase your confidence. So make you closer to 100%. Remove that, reduce that sliver of doubt by half, maybe.
Well, if you could find a person who was living by himself and other people had such a good thing that other people wanted to join him, that would be evidence. So if I saw strong evidence of somebody being unkind and being a fucking asshole to everybody and saying fuck you to everything, it just doesn't work. If there was an example, then that could be. Yeah, I would be open to looking at it, but there is no evidence for that.
Yeah, I think the example you're giving would reduce my confidence if it were a successful example. If I found a successful example of a hermit who thrived.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that would reduce my confidence. I think what would increase my confidence is seeing a bunch of people try and just crash and burn, fail. I think, but we're talking about a little sliver of doubt on something we completely agree on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. I've really enjoyed this conversation. I appreciate it.
Well, what are your other questions? Cordial curiosity? It's just anything?
Sure.
Do you have like a base thing? You said you had a list of questions that are on my thing. How does this normally work?
Normally, people come up with their own. There are some suggestions on the board. I also have a list of questions here. Oh, but I do have a few questions from the crowd.
The crowd?
That are watching. Yes. From the crowd. Yes, there's a...
Which crowd? The ducks?
In this case, it's a crowd in the live show text on Discord.
Okay.
So, let's see. When I see the claim... Yeah, he doesn't want to touch the headphones. He's concerned, and I respect that. So the question is it morally reprehensible for a person to live and act in solitude? If they choose to do so, is there a moral downside to doing that?
No. Actually, there'd be nothing more honorable than following through with what you believe to be true. But we could look at the evidence. There's a wide variety of psychological conditions, and some people are like more social, more introvert, more extrovert. If somebody wanted to be a hermit by himself and do that, and that was what they seemed as right, that would be the noble thing to do.
Cool. All right.
I mean, it's just like, it's the same thing with like suicide. People are like, oh, this is like a taboo thing. These people are ill,
Yeah.
And they are making a choice. So you can't, in hindsight or extrapolate it out, you could say, well, your wound will heal, these things can change, but it's not. So the question is it morally reprehensible for someone to actually do this? Is that the question?
Right. Is there any moral downside to somebody actually becoming a hermit?
Well, the moral downside for the individual is different than like the group. So for
Right.
the individual, he's not going to reap the benefits and the frustrations of living in society and the good and the bad for that. There would be, even though there are some terrible people, most of them are good for the most of the time. And so the rest of the people outside of that have a moral downside, and they are not seeing the positivity and the benefits of whatever the unique personality of that individual is. So the outside group morally loses a broader spectrum of human conditions that could help even the group. They might have skills or abilities.
Okay, so the loss is that group's opportunity to interact with that person. That person might be bringing something important, and it might be a loss to society to lose the interaction with that person.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that the group loses the benefits and the negative attributes of that person. But if you average out that entity, it's better to have that entity with you in the group,
Yeah.
So
I agree.
I try to answer that from the individual's position. So yeah.
Sure. I have another question. It's almost the same question. Is someone who lives in solitude harming anyone? I think you already answered it.
No, not at all.
Right.
Actually, I would say, is anyone living in solitude? Who writes these things? These people over here? Well, I don't get it. This is a Discord. People are actually watching this?
Yeah, people are watching this. We're streaming to
fascinating.
Twitch and Facebook and YouTube and Periscope. Earlier, I heard that there was 7 on one platform and 4 and 4 viewers.
Oh wow!
There might be more by now. I haven't checked recently.
Well, is there anything morally wrong with solitude? They didn't say morality. They just said the solitude.
I'll read it carefully. Is someone who lives in solitude harming anyone? Was one question, and the other one: is it morally reprehensible for a person to live and act in solitude? I think those are pretty much the same.
Yeah, they are pretty much the same question.
No
one is being harmed in solitude. It's the same exact concept or conversation we just had.
Yeah.
It could be harming the bigger group by not participating, but that's their choice. And if that's what they believe, boom.
Yeah.
That's what they need to do.
Yeah, Scott, the question thing is just put a dash in front of whatever you're writing, and then I'll be able to promote it to the screen if you like. Anne says, I think they harm themselves, but I don't think that's morally wrong. Would you agree with me that if someone does some harm to themselves, does themselves a disservice that doesn't hurt anybody else, that's their own choice, and there's no moral downside to them making a bad idea, making a bad choice, or making a harmful choice?
Yes, that's true. I would agree with that. Okay. They could be harming themselves, absolutely. But it depends how you look at things. Am I harming myself by being here right now? No.
Probably not. Hopefully I'm being safe.
Right, but actually, maybe I could have, this isn't really, how can I explain this? That person might have had to make that one instant or mistake or whatever to learn to be able to have greater growth and greater errors in the future. So that might be a necessary choice at that time.
Okay. Someone asks, can social connectivity ever go too far? Should people be individualistic to an extent, or is it always bad?
Should people be say that again?
So it's a compound question. Can social connectivity ever go too far? And should people be individualistic to an extent, or is it always bad for people to go off and be individualistic? And I think he means by individualistic, like the hermit kind of level, as opposed to, no, I'm just going to express myself my own way. I think he means the hermit thing.
I don't know what to say to that. I
Okay.
would say that as an individual, I'm just pausing and thinking.
Yes.
Because you can be We're social creatures.
We get bonus points if you pause and think. That's extra special for us.
All right. I was just thinking because I was trying. How can I answer this thing exactly?
Yeah.
I don't have an initial thought on it, but we are social people.
Uh-huh.
Social media and all this stuff. There is good and there's bad and there's toxic within that, but you also need time to pause and think. You know, you don't have to go to Mount Baldy like Leonard Cohen to have these sort of escapes.
I love Leonard Cohen.
Yeah, he's great.
I miss him.
Yeah, we'll turn on his music. He's still here.
He's still here.
So, yes, amazing. But, I don't know, I was just trying to answer that question because there's two kind of compounded questions, but...
It is. So you can pick either one of them, or we could move on because there's two more already.
I don't feel like I can answer that one. What's the question?
That's fine.
Can anyone individually be good? Or I feel like it was kind of either or a question. Answer.
Yeah, let's skip it and go on. Is there a false dichotomy between all social and all hermit? Huh.
Yeah, you don't have to be one or the other. These are all kind of similar questions, actually.
They are. They're coming from different people, though.
It's okay. But people want to know where to draw the line. It depends on who that person is. You are individual, you're social, but it all sort of stemmed out of, I said, you asked me, what did I believe? I said, it's inherently in your self-interest to be sort of self-aware for the greater community. So, What did they just ask? The exact words?
The exact words were, is there a false dichotomy between all social and hermit? A false dichotomy is where you have an extreme and an extreme, and kind of a binary.
Yes.
And you say it must be one or the other. Whereas the opposite of a false dichotomy was something that has a clear third choice or has a big gradient.
Yeah,
where you could fall anywhere in the range.
I feel like I answered that. Hopefully, I don't know, because I said it doesn't. You don't have to go to the top of the mountain to have that solitude. But,
okay. Another person asks, is harming oneself morally equivalent to harming others? And I'm thinking that you already answered this one.
Yeah, I kind of already answered that too. Yeah. It could be you could be making a mistake. You could be hurting the greater community, but also that might be a necessary choice. So sometimes that is necessary as the individual. I mean, you have to allow individuals. Can you hear me with this thing on?
I hear you very well.
Okay, good. Yeah, you have to allow individuals to make tragic choices.
Yeah.
Because they might grow from that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So yes, that could harm the greater people. So we try to minimize those things so people don't have such wild fluctuations. We try to narrow the parameter of wild volatility in all things. Economics, monetary. There's a person sleeping in this tent right here.
Yeah.
That's a wild spectrum from the house right above it.
Totally. It's an amazing thing. I mean, we're looking at expensive apartments with a great view of people homeless. It's a thing.
So we try to minimize these types of extremes.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to answer that question.
Yeah.
Could self-harm or self-harm, or you could be hurting yourself and hurting the community, definitely.
Yeah.
You are a component of that, but you have to operate from your own subjective experience.
Yeah.
So you're going to hurt yourself, or your own individual thing could be, 20%. In the greater picture, it's 0.2.
Okay. Cool. I think I'm out of questions.
All right.
Thank you. Do you have any questions for me or the crowd?
How long have you been doing this?
I've been doing this really actively for a little over a year, maybe about a year. Actually, meeting with people in the parks, that was like January.
Yeah.
And I've been learning it and practicing it since 14 maybe.
Awesome. This seems like a cool thing. It's something like I'd like to do.
Yeah.
What has anybody asked you? Has anyone's answer ever made you cry?
Yes.
What happened? What were the reasons behind that?
In that case, it was a story that they told that really moved me. And it was just a story that went along with what their claim was. They were talking about the thing, and it probably, I don't actually remember the content, It might have been about children. It might have been about pets. That's the kind of thing I would cry about.
Hmm.
It might have been somebody lost a loved one.
Hmm.
Yeah.
What have you learned doing this?
I have learned how to have conversations with anybody, whether or not I agree with them, and end up walking away happy and ready to have another conversation. I've learned how to eliminate polarization causing communication, to where I live on a dock several days of the week. And on that dock, there are some right-wing and some left-wing folk, and the right-wing folk outnumber everybody. For some reason, boaters are red state. I don't know, but that's fine. And I'm the only one on that dock who can speak to everybody on that dock. There are people who can't speak to that group. There are these people that can't speak to that group. I can speak to all of them.
And well, why is that? I mean, we certainly always come to, you always want to have these tribal names for this group or that group.
Yeah.
To try to polarize people. So I asked you what you learned. You said you can have a broader range of talking to people.
Yep.
So I'm looking at.
I can talk to everybody.
Stuff. How can you break that down into like 3 takeaway steps for people who are watching right now? What are you going to say to them? They're not you on the dock. What do they need to do?
How to learn what I've learned is go to streetepistemology.com and check out the resources. And we're working on a self-study course, and there's also a whole bunch of resources and people willing to help you learn this process. So the takeaway is people are worth paying attention to and listening to. Even when you disagree with them a lot, they still know some correct things.
Yeah.
There's this genetic fallacy where we disregard information because we distrust the source. And we can learn to get around that.
Okay, so one thing you said for those people to go to that website to get that information.
StreetEpistemology.com. That's a good place for learning how to do what I'm doing. And I could give you the 5-minute summary or the hour-long summary or the something like that in actually what it is.
Yeah, I was just curious for people who are watching or whatever, like, I don't know, what are they going to say? Like, you're like, I learned these things. Mm-hmm. So
my favorite way to learn them is examples like this, viewing examples like this. Many of the people that I speak to have already seen Anthony Magnabosco's videos. He's the one who's got the most videos and the most viewers.
Yeah.
In this practice.
Okay.
So Anthony Magnabosco, he's the guy.
Oh, I never heard this person.
Right. He's got, he's a YouTuber with 50,000 subscribers. Oh. So how much impact is that? That's not everybody. That's a way not everybody. That's, what is that? 1/100,000th of the world.
What's this puzzle right here? This is a red.
That's an obvious bribe to get you to come back. You can have any one of those.
It's a what?
It's an obvious bribe for you to come back. When you have a conversation, I offer you one of those. You get to pick, and then the idea is, if you'd want to collect all 3, you come back for 2 more conversations.
Oh, I see.
We like to encourage repeat conversations.
What you were talking about before is like, but people have sort of innate biases. You said you sort of learn that basically you try to be aware of that or cognizant of these sort of traps.
Everybody's got biases.
Everyone goes into.
Mm-hmm. And the trick is just being okay with that. Letting people be wrong if you disagree. That's okay. It's the opposite of cancel culture.
What's something you strongly disagree with?
Trump.
Trump? Why?
I dislike Trump for hundreds of reasons, and all of my likings of Trump are like reasons I can tolerate him, not reasons why I would choose him. I don't want him as a leader. I think he's incompetent. I think he's nasty and a blowhard. I think he's antisocial. I think he thinks cheating is clever and doesn't like fairness.
Right. Well, can I
stuff like that?
You?
Sure.
Basically, yeah, the guy's a misogynist. He's a maniac. He's a charlatan. He's a self-interested megalomaniac. He's a xenophobic racist.
A strangely rich grifter.
He's a manifestation of these people who he got the fuck you vote, and he basically sort of is able to harness this
It's spelled populist. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, but how that is what really is the problem is this sort of willful ignorance of the masses that allow that. You can find a fool in every corner.
Yeah.
So I said, what's something you strongly disagree with? Trump, but I would say that he is not, dude, he's a maniac.
Yeah, that's more like a someone, not a something. So if I were to come up with a something, I would say I strongly disagree with disregarding people's opinions just because they have an association. I shouldn't listen to you. You're a insert label here. I think that's bad. I think that's stupid.
But what do you think about our news media? Because basically these are these massive for-profit corporations, which basically turn into these sort of editorialized, sort of like, wow, can you believe that this group did this?
Uh-huh.
I mean, did you read Matt Taibbi's book called Hate Inc.?
No, I think I've made it.
It's a pretty good book, just talking about how it's basically just sort of it's just that
I'm very aware of Fox News and CNN and MSNBC and OAN.
They're all sort of like, hater, look at what that nasty group did. So it's, hey, you.
Yeah.
Doesn't do anything. It's actually very harmful and destructive. Even like, who's that lady on MSNBC? She's like, check out his taxes.
Rachel Maddow?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Penny, the sky's falling. Okay, she had some paper whatever. But anyway, she completely... Her behavior, Matt Taibbi talks about this book. She does the same thing. It's sort of this outlandish recoiling at the other group.
Yeah.
You know? Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Schadenfreude.
Yeah. Anyway.
Kimberly, would you grab me the orange book? Go ahead.
I don't know what else to say. I was just looking. But also, wait, what's your name?
I'm Dali, D-A-L-I.
Right, Dali.
That's Reed, R-E-I-D. And that's Kimberly, K-I-M-B-E-R-B-E-R-L.
Nice. And how long are you normally out here?
4 hours.
4 hours, huh?
4 hours twice a week. That's the book I'm really into these days.
All right, let me take a picture.
Yeah, take a picture of that.
What else are you reading that's good, you recommend?
The Righteous Mind by Jonathan Haidt. H-A-I-D-T.
I think I've heard of this book.
Yeah, it's a 2006 book. It's the one I'm reading currently. And the main idea is that we can break down to something like 6 values. How the moral foundations that people use to come up with their choices. And the real difference between people isn't so much that they have different data. Yes, they can have false facts, but it's that they value those things differently. This would be caring for people as opposed to harm. It would be fairness as opposed to cheating. Liberty as opposed to oppression. Authority versus subversion. Thank you. Sanctity versus degradation, like purity. Let's see, and loyalty versus betrayal. They did a bunch of studies with people, and that conservatives are about equal in these 6, and progressive liberals are big on authority, care, harm, and fairness, and not the other 3. And libertarians are liberty above all the other ones. So this becomes kind of a map for predicting how people are going to make moral choices, and which are the values that are guiding their moral choices.
Right. Well, whatever those choices are, we're going to pay a lot of money to say those keywords a lot to frighten people.
Oh yeah. If you listen to political advertising, you can just go, oh, that's a one, that's a this one. That you can just pick which one of them that they're referencing, because in Western society, it's pretty strongly predictive. You go outside of Western society. I mean, if you go to China, if you go to Japan, these are not the right things. But it works in America and Canada and Europe and most Western societies, in the sense of, I'm not sure if Western's the great term, but
Western civilization. What do you think? What are your thoughts on Chris Hedges?
Not ringing a bell with Chris Hedges.
He's an author. He wrote a book called End of Civilization, Days of Revolt. He's a Pulitzer Prize winning author. Speaks a lot about American foreign policy.
Okay.
Anyway, I just read his book, and goes into kind of excruciating details on a couple of examples. But he's talking about sort of the moral decline of the United States, and that basically this is it because of basically this unsustainable capitalism, this sort of rat race. Anyway.
Okay.
I do not disagree with him on very many things. I recommend his book a lot.
Okay.
I was just curious, what other books have you read recently you recommend? I was looking at my books to see what.
Oh, let's see.
Recommend.
Factfulness by Hansel Rosling. That's about understanding statistics about the world really well and understanding the state of the world, looking at it from a high view on statistics. There's another one that I read from Peter Singer.
I like him.
Yeah, and I'm not remembering the name of the Peter Singer book in the moment, but it was about what are the efficient ways to save lives, for example, in terms of like, we've got some of this low-hanging fruit where we can, for $5, we can save lives with mosquito nets.
Well, that's what happened with mosquito nets.
Yeah,
and
$5 a life or
GMOs.
something like that. It's just like incredibly cheap. And then you look at other things that we need to do, and it might take $1,000 or it might take $1 million to save a life. And if you're going to have a giving, do you want to give toward mosquito nets? Of course, there's only a little bit of that low-hanging fruit of mosquito nets.
Yep.
Most other things cost a lot more than $5 to do any good.
Right. What's the cost value benefit for these things?
Exactly, and that's where Peter Singer was going.
I'll check that out.
I like that one
guy.
too. Yeah.
Does anybody famous watch this thing like Bill Gates?
I don't know. They haven't told me.
We got to get Bill Gates. We got to get all these people who have signed this giving pledge to give their money. What the fuck are they waiting for? Basically, we have people warring against their neighbors. I mean, there's massive problems in the world. All these huge people who basically got rich off of these. You want equitability and you want meritocracy, but you have all of these huge, just disgustingly wealthy people that have so much money, it's insane. And they're like, well, I feel kind of guilty, so I'm going to give it away when I die. What the fuck are you waiting for? Dude, you're only alive once. Reincarnation is just a dream. That's not happening.
Yeah.
What are these people waiting for? Like, Bill Gates is doing a lot of good things, actually, but
I'm pretty happy with Bill and Melinda.
The giving pledge, what are these people waiting for? We got serious problems. We need to do things now.
I'm really happy that Bill and Melinda have taken to managing their giving as opposed to just fire hosing it out.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I think I've got a lot of negativity about Microsoft over the decades.
But yeah, the only reason
I've mostly forgiven. You pissed me off about Microsoft for years, but then you save 100,000 lives from malaria. Okay, you're in.
That's exactly what that person's question was. Could you do something good? That guy could have done harm there, but he might have made a mistake and learned from that. And now look at him because of that. Yeah.
So somebody reminds me the name of the Peter Singer book was called The Life You Can Save.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Peter Singer.
Yeah. People on Twitch and Discord are both saying they love you as an interlocutor. Interlocutor in this case is just the fancy word we're using for the conversation partner.
Nice.
A lot of this comes from Socratic dialogue, so we have some jargon left over from Socrates.
Nice.
Like we're having an Elenchus. Did you know that?
A Elenchus?
Elenchus. Elenchus.
No.
Yeah.
Elenchus. I probably would not have guessed that on the multiple choice.
I would. It's such weird jargon.
Huh. I will. I'm not sure what kind of people you normally have on here, or who watches this, or what they want to hear. That's always the thing too. Is you have something that's established, sort of realm of topics or whatever. And do those people like connect with that? And also, there's a big problem with making shows live. Like they're like, oh, I got a live show. Yeah, dude, figure that shit out and edit it, and then when you have it written, I will come back and read it.
Okay.
So, no offense against this, but I'm saying
this is the kind of thing that works best live.
Yeah.
Now, Reed for years has been doing this with the GoPros, doing the editing thing.
Yeah.
And taking the most interesting 10 or 20% of the conversations and publishing
Oh,
those.
good.
And my producer, that's way far away, in North Macedonia, convinced me last July that doing it live would save a lot of time.
Yeah, actually, I would just say, he's right, but also it's apples and oranges. It's totally different.
It is.
But I'm just saying, in general, we have a deluge of everybody's going live and wants to be like a superstar and a selfie famous person. No, just create some quality, just spend some time, get your bread perfect, and when it's good, you can share it with people, then they'll be there. Yeah.
In this case, the most editing I do is I go back after the live stream and I clip each conversation into its own video.
Oh, right on.
But I don't cut anything out of the middle of the conversation unless something crazy happens.
Yeah.
That I need to for some reason, or I need to blur somebody's face because they ask or whatever.
How could you make this show be better? Or this conversation, or just not you and I.
This is just really good already.
Yeah.
This particular conversation, maybe I should switch scenes to something else. But no, this is just what I want.
All right.
This is an example of how to have this kind of conversation, and it's a decent one. You're a good interlocutor. You're interesting. You're animated. You're thinking about it. You're responding to everything. You're running with the ball. I couldn't ask for more.
Yeah, well, good. I like to talk about things. More people should have conversations. You have to articulate yourself, actually, and explain yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the best you can. A foundational tool for anything. Communication.
The remote control is going a little crazy. I'm going to refresh it. Oh. Yes. Do you do Discord or Facebook, or do you have a social media that you like?
Well, actually, in reverse order to answer those questions, yes, I'm on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I joined this Discord because I joined this cooking class, and they have this social club for like tabletop gaming. So I joined this Discord actually, but it's pretty much just people communicating with memes, and I haven't really gotten to any games yet.
Okay.
I did write a bunch of my thoughts and feelings, almost like an article on my Facebook page. They just deleted all these pages because I think these groups were like, somehow they were using that. So on Facebook, you can create a page. You can just write your comments like, oh, I feel okay, or here's a picture. Oh, look.
Sure.
Just a little status update. There was also another option called Pages. And pictures in them, which was different than just posting on the regular feed. So it was a better structure. Some people would write poems, recipes. So I wrote some stuff on there, and then I just looked the other day because I was going to copy this. I had this idea to solve this COVID. I was going to send this thing to my friend, but then they just deleted them all, actually.
Oh, you mentioned COVID.
Yeah.
They're on a rampage about COVID misinformation.
Yeah, well, mine is sort of an editorial. I basically said that we need to create an app on the phone.
The AI couldn't tell the difference.
That might be why, actually.
Yeah, I don't think this was a person going through reading your thing going, oh, no, they just, computer search,
That might be true, but I'm
COVID,
saying,
and if they don't have letters behind their name,
That's true, and the tab or the options for people to have notes is completely gone. People who wrote recipes, because there's other people complaining online, too, about their poems and recipes, other topics. That whole tab is gone. That was a good tool. Why do you ask that?
Because my producer whispered in my head and said, ask him which social media he's on. So we have a 5,000 person group on Facebook and about 4,000 people in our Discord.
Yeah.
And it's either one of them and both of them are great places for these kinds of conversations.
Oh, nice.
People, basically, there's a bunch of people saying, please come, we would like to talk with you.
Come to the Discord?
Come to the Discord or come to the Facebook, and because they would like to interact with you.
All right, I will.
Thank you.
Sure.
We have cards. We have Reed's cards. I don't have mine printed recently. And that can get you in there. And also, streetepistemology.com.
Oh, all right.
And you can take a picture of the back of my shirt if that helps. It's got streetepistemology.com on it.
Okay, I can see epistemology.
Street epistemology is
Nice.
the conversational method that I'm doing with you.
Nice. Have you read Plato's The Republic?
Not yet.
Dude, you got to read that book.
Okay.
That is one of the best books. That, and I'm in volume 2 of Arthur Schopenhauer's The World as Will and Idea. So
Okay.
good, dude. And actually, yeah, if you like this stuff, you should check out also, you read Thus Spoke Zarathustra?
I haven't. I
Dude.
am familiar with Zoroastrian as a religion,
Yeah, well, it's I don't know. I just think.
and I'm very familiar with the song in question.
Oh yeah, sing it.
I would get a copyright strike because I can actually sing well and hold a pitch. But it was the opening. It was the theme for 2001.
Oh.
Real
Okay.
simple, big major chord leading up to.
Yep.
Dum, 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 dum.
Nice. I recommend that book. It's good. And it's kind of it is sort of inspirational. It's sort of a hero comes down the mountain to tell the world how to live.
Mhm.
And then they're like, "You're a fucking fool. Get the fuck out of here." It's like, none of these people in this town are going to recognize my truth. I must go to the elders and the wiser people, and they will seek this wisdom. And he's just calling on people to become an Ubermensch, Uberman.
Yep.
It just means like
Yep.
a higher level being
Yep.
of yourself, being sort of self-aware.
Clark Kent.
And it just has many poetic and insightful lines. You can actually look it up online too. The text is right there. Just pick any spot and you're like, it's just like a dessert. But the whole book is very good. Anyway, I was thinking about the Plato's Republic because I definitely recommend that to everybody too.
Yeah.
That also calls on people to
I typically read my Socrates in small bites.
this thing, dude. This is gonna be a 12-course meal. You will go to the vomitarium and come back for more. It's so good. You're basically, he's calling on people to be mindful. The gymnasium, exercise, libraries, wisdom, being
Yep.
mindful. He does talk a little bit about slaves, and you should basically.
Yeah, he's in favor of slavery, and that's an issue. But
yeah,
you know,
there's a couple little small things, and he says like the right time to have a kid is I think when you're like 13, but this is like a different time.
totally.
You can have a more broader understanding and recognize that we should have equitability. Of course, we're not going to have any slaves, and you're probably not going to be having
Yeah. The
kids.
slave
at
thing,
12.
that's a bad choice.
But anyway, that book is incredible. But anyway, I'm not sure if anyone's watching this, but definitely Plato's The Republic.
Thank you.
And Thus Spoke Zarathustra is pretty good too. Anyway, you want me to get out of here?
No.
You want me to
Nobody's waiting.
I also just read 100 Years of Solitude. That's a famous book, which I
Don't know that one.
It's I don't know.
But that
Spanish.
relates to your first claim.
What?
Solitude. That relates to your first claim.
Yeah, dude, it's that book is worth checking out. Yeah. All right, that Chris Hedges book was America: The Farewell Tour.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
He goes on too long in some of the examples, but he's really trying to put yourself in that situation. It's like a documentary filmmaker. He's sort of highlighting these different things. He's talking about, just goes on and on this S&M thing about this lady who has to do this stuff, but it is sort of talking about the fact that nobody wants to do this stuff for their own free will, and it is sort of a subjugation of what the individual wants and how money can put somebody in a position of pain and exploitation.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's good, dude.
Indeed. Somebody reinforces Chris Hedges, definitely recommend.
Yeah, Chris Hedges is great. Most people, you kind of have a couple of issues with them, are like, a little bit of a wacko. He's not exactly angry, but he is sort of beating this drum of like, wake up, people. But I don't ever disagree with him. So,
Hey, it's okay. If you're beating the drum, I can live with that.
I was just looking at my library of books here.
Yes, FK, my I'm resetting. Ah, okay. It is working. I had to reset my remote control. Switch to 3 vertical, you say? Sure.
What would be interesting is if you were to ask somebody a question,
Yes.
and then you just have your producers or whatever just sitting here, just logically skewering that argument.
We do that a little bit, and you'll notice that I hit you up for reasons. I hit you up for the things. I went down your, what do you take as authorities, and that kind of thing. What kind of data would shift you? And that's kind of how far we want to go. We want to. There's a danger of crossing over into arguing from a different position and say, well, how do you really know? And getting somebody defensive.
That's true. You're not going to have a good conversation then.
Exactly. The point is, we're very effective if we can avoid defensiveness while still exploring something and causing that stop to think thing. That's all I want to do. Is I want to get far enough that you're doing a stop to think. And then you'll do the rest yourself. If I can cause a shift in your confidence, up or down, or if I can cause you to rethink your claim, you'll do that on your own. It doesn't matter if you move forward or away to my position. That shouldn't be my goal at all.
Right. Well, there is a problem that basically people sort of define their identity with their own choice or belief, which could be wrong. Like chocolate chip cookies are the best.
Yeah, sure.
So, but actually, you can't actually answer that question for anybody else. So I guess you're probably wise to not have it be confrontational.
Yeah.
But it is good to point out if there's something, forcing them to articulate, and they should have to reason away that other concept.
Yeah. If you'd had poor epistemology, if you'd have had suck reasons, it would have taken longer.
Oh.
The people with the strongest epistemology, if I get a scientist sitting down in here and who's all intellectually humble and they got all this thing, they fall through my flowchart really fast. The conversation takes 5 minutes because I'll say, so what do you think? And they'll tell me, and they'll give me their reasons and their reason why they select what kind of data and how they would select new information coming. They'll just tell me everything I want to know, and I'll say, okay, thanks. And so I'm trying to only have the position of being really in favor of critical thinking and not trying to be in favor of my own fact set.
Are you fans of James Randi? Did you see he just passed away?
Yes, I'm a big fan of James Randi.
Yeah.
And he will be missed.
Yeah, he's a great guy speaking on rational thinking, and he did tons, and he's famous and a magician and incredible. And he lived an amazing life. He had that. You see that documentary about him talking about his life was a lie, and then he basically was.
I've seen a few James Randi documentaries. I probably have seen that one.
This one came out like 5 or 6 years ago. That basically he was gay, and he was kind of keeping this whole secret. And no, that's good. And you read Skeptic magazine?
I have. I'm very familiar with Michael Shermer.
Yeah, I like him as well. So kind of.
I'm subscribed to Michael Shermer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
On YouTube. I don't afford the magazine, but the YouTube's free.
Yeah, nice. Oh, you know what? You probably will like this then, because actually there was a discussion at Caltech with Michael Shermer, Sam Harris, Gene Houston, and Deepak Chopra talking about the future of God. And it's by what's his name? The ABC reporter.
Okay.
I was in the crowd there. Dude,
is this a Bill Moyers?
No, it wasn't Bill Moyers. Although I love Bill Moyers, he's incredible.
Yeah.
It's another guy on ABC who said he's got a last name that's similar to somebody else. Doesn't really matter. It was on ABC. Of course, on TV they got to edit the thing down.
Sure.
Dude, it was an intellectual bloodbath. Deepak Chopra is basically getting totally emotional and like, there's no reason for belief in this and that. And he said religion is going to fly people into planes. And then Michael Shermer is like, Deepak, that's very un-Deepak of you. It's incredible. But unfortunately, the parameters of a TV show, they had to edit the thing down considerably. But if you were to watch that, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
It was pretty entertaining.
Somebody just put up a poster of An Honest Liar.
Yeah, that's the movie, Honest Liar.
Yeah, that's the one.
That's a great movie.
Yeah, a great picture of him too.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So yeah, I like that guy.
Mm.
Holly, what's the attribute of your personality you'd like to share more with the world?
Wow. That's a really tough question. I have significant social anxiety. It's really actually very hard for me to come out in public and deal with these things, talk with people. And I have learned it through grit and technique. How to, I'm very much an introvert. And so to be this extroverted is a significant effort. So that's not something I'd want to wish on people. Okay, here's something I want to share with the world. I have a downside that I can get into analysis paralysis. I can think about a thing to the exclusion of ever doing it. The more I think about it, the more I can think of reasons, and I go down a rabbit hole and never come out. That's a downside. The upside is that at least given enough time, given somebody else to say, okay, there's a deadline, we have this long to think about it, then we have to do something, I can work pretty well on a team like that. If somebody can tell me, okay, time to stop analyzing, it's time to actually go run with the decisions. So that's not something I'd want to wish on other people, is to have this analysis paralysis, but there are advantages to it in a team environment. And then maybe the other one is a willingness to engage peacefully. I don't know if that's a personality trait.
Not exactly, but keep going, because basically my question was, what's a personality trait of yourself you want to share more with the world? And you said, I've sort of been doing this, it's kind of helped me improve. Socially, kind of didn't want to get involved, which sounds kind of strange because you're sitting here talking to people.
Yeah.
But I guess you have a structure for it, and actually nothing but like forced practice and discipline. That's going to basically kick your ass and make you become really good. But I was curious, independent of this, or maybe it is the same thing, or it might be related, because that's the first thing you thought of.
Yeah.
I was asking, what's a personality or attribute of your character you want to share more with the world? Do you want to talk more?
Yeah, it's a tough one. I have a very low opinion of my success. And therefore, I would have a low opinion of saying somebody should adopt my whatever, my traits, my choices, or something like that. I have a very low opinion of that kind of thing. I would hope that people would not copy me because I have failed so much, socially and otherwise.
Right. But what do you want to share more?
What do I want to share more? Non-polarization, being able to speak to anybody about anything. That's. I don't know if that's a personality trait or a hobby that I'm using to get over a personality trait.
Yeah, they probably intertwined.
Yeah. I mean, that's my obsession this year. Become a much better communicator, be able to communicate with anybody peacefully.
Why is this? Tell me about your father.
I grew up in a fundamentalist missionary school. My father was Reverend.
Really?
Yeah. Southern Baptist. But not in name.
Oh.
They would never admit that they were Southern Baptist. I didn't know what Southern Baptist meant or any connotations of it until I was an adult, because they would never admit that that was the case, except that if I look at their beliefs and structures and what they taught, it's word for word Southern Baptist, and they called themselves interdenominational in order to not admit it. But they were chapter and verse Southern Baptist.
And so how did that affect you?
Oh, it suppressed the hell out of me. Fundamentalist missionary school, that's a tough place for a kid. That's the kind of effect where when I'm a young child, I'm hearing my mother say, if she did not believe that I was going to heaven, after I reached the age of consent, it would be better that she killed me so that I went to heaven rather than have me grow up to be an adult and not go to heaven.
Wow.
It's that kind of shit. I mean, it's that level of holy shit. If I don't, my mother might be secretly planning to off me if I don't rise to whatever she thinks I should by the time I'm 6 or 7.
And when you heard that, though, like, what did you think of that? Were you like, that's a crock of shit, or I'm scared, or what the fuck?
I had no reference to be able to think it was a crock of shit. I had no reference to even believe this wasn't a common practice. So, as you can imagine, I had a lot of fear.
Yeah.
And I was constantly being told I did not measure up and I wasn't doing well enough. So my prediction of whether I would pass that test that I'm hearing is coming up was very, very low. Also, they had such an opinion that saving somebody's soul was more important than their life that I had... they could be fantastically cruel to people for stupid reasons, especially, for example, gay people.
Why would they be cruel to them? Because
their religion said that that's gays are the worst. That's just the most horrible possible thing. You could be a murderer, and that's forgiven, but he was gay. I mean, it was that bad. Murder is easy to forgive, but he touched another man's butt. No. Very extreme. Yeah, so how did it affect me? It took me a bunch of years to get over that shit. And it was inevitable. There was no way I could stay in. There was no way I could stay understanding. I was too well informed and too scientific in the work that I did. I was a computer programmer and that kind of thing. And if you're well enough informed, you can't be a young Earth creationist.
Right.
You have to stick your head under the sand scientifically. You have to blinder yourself scientifically to retain young Earth creationists. I actually am of the opinion that young Earth creationists are about as wrong as flat earthers.
Young creationists? What the heck's that?
The assertion that the world was created about 6,000 years ago, a literalist interpretation of Genesis.
Oh, okay, yeah.
6 days of creation.
Right. Yeah, so basically...
evolution isn't a thing.
Yeah, so you can either go, like you said, willful ignorance, but you got to poke your head up out of the sand and explore. So that didn't happen. So then you're in conflict with that. Yeah,
and so in my 20s, I had this inevitable situation of just going, wow, that was a huge crock of shit.
What do you think the benefits of that whole thing were, though? As a reaction to that?
Benefits. Well, it didn't protect me from child abuse. It didn't protect me, as you can imagine. There's a big problem in religious circles. The tighter they are, the worse they tend to do the Catholic kitty rapey thing. So, if Catholics or Protestants or imams in a Muslim community or something, it's all kind of the same wraparound. And my answer is don't leave your kids alone with a cleric. Yeah, don't leave your kids alone with somebody who's got the authority of the locals and no checks and balances.
Absolutely.
Because maybe only 1% of them are kitty rapers, but you're not going to catch them. It's a problem. So no, that's no good. Sorry, you asked the benefits. I lived a very, very sheltered life, so perhaps I was less endangered. That's a minor benefit.
Yeah.
It's a benefit. Okay.
Yeah.
I had 3 squares a day in healthcare.
Oh.
Kind of. I'm not sure it's a benefit relating to. There's so many other ways I could have had all the same benefits without the headaches.
Different situation.
Yeah. But I can give credit where credit is due, in that my parents did actually try to provide a safe environment for me with My father's dead a while. I'm just thinking about what would happen if my mother was listening to this. Oh well. She's still alive.
Good. I hope she is. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. People do the best they can given their present level of awareness.
Yeah.
That's what Eckhart Tolle says in like the power of actually it's in a New Earth, which actually has more anecdotals, but that's a good thing. You know, I'm not making any excuses, but people are responsible. Choices could have been different. Absolutely. But actually, what the hell is that book called? It does help you to, or it's all in the same vein as the spirit, actually. Sam Harris has a book called Free Will, which is basically just a recapitulation of the same concept of basically somebody else's book, which I think
we
is
were
probably
talking
better.
about that on Tuesday. Reed was recommending that book to me on Tuesday. Free Will from Sam Harris.
Well, all it really, I can tell you, basically, it's a short book, but the whole point is people, actually, free will is a complete illusion, but you don't get to choose the choices you get.
Okay.
So you do have options.
Yep.
You are in control because it's actually just a placebo that helps you just exist. But you do have the choices. You get to choose within the choices that you're given. But anyway, I'm trying to wrap this into the same concept because when you start to understand that, you will see that a lot of people actually, they didn't really necessarily have a choice, and you will have a greater compassion. It will lead to a greater compassion and understanding of the situation. Oh, well, why is that guy banging his head against the fucking wall? Well, actually, let's take a look. We really do know why. He didn't have this. This is what happened, and this is what happened. I'm surprised it's not even worse. So there is a great benefit to a greater understanding of people and situations, and you'll have much more compassion.
Where's Reed? Ah, he's moving his car because street sweeping.
Another thing you said made me think of another line in another movie. There's a documentary called about Dr. Bronner's magic soap. Which everybody likes that magic soap.
That's what I use.
And so
I really love that soap, especially the peppermint.
The peppermint, peppermint's the best. Just a little burn, it depends. And there's a documentary about that actually. Dr. Braun, I don't know what his name is. Basically escaped from this institution in Chicago.
Okay.
He came out to LA actually. He's making the soap, and I bought that thing originally because I was like, Jesus, who made this thing? There's no graphic design. This is probably made by a madman because no corporate company would allow it to be labeled with so much. He's really just saying that one love,
label
one unity.
is obviously provided by a blind person.
The whole reason why he made this soap was to become a
Dr.
vehicle.
Bronner is blind, by the way. He was blinded in World War II.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He made this soap.
I should say was blind. He's no longer alive.
He was blind, but he made the soap as a vehicle basically for his message, which is great. But in the documentary, I don't know where I watched it, but he did have a couple kids, and he's
Essene.
He's what?
Essene is the religion, and it's a literalist scriptural interpretation religion.
Yeah. Yes. Well, the one line popped out of my head, or when you were talking about this experience, is that talking about your mom, is that. Jesus, just spit it out. What the hell's the line? He says he's working in his shed, he's broke, and his wife is like, look, we don't have any money, what the hell are we gonna do? And he said there's some line in the movie where he's like, look, I have a debt to you and my kids, but I also have a debt to the entire planet. What's it gonna be? So anyway, he pretty much left his family and his kids.
Oh wow.
So anyway, crazy. Okay, well, here I can wrap this up.
Yes, thank you.
Else. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. Take a card if you want. That's Reed. You can get a hold of him. He'll be happy to hand things off to me or you and get you into the Discord and do all those things.
Cordially curious.
Cordial curiosity. His name is Reed Nice Wonder. So there's a pun in there.
Reed Nice what?
Nice Wonder.
Nice Wonder.
Which kind of is like cordial curiosity. Nice and wondering. Curious.
Okay, thank you.
It's a fun little pun.
His name is on the card?
Yeah.
It's okay.
So you can have that as well. We'll be here Tuesday next. And some people are suggesting that you could sit in my seat next time.
I just was.
No, you could sit in this seat
Oh, yeah, okay.
and do the questioning.
Oh, I mean, that's what I'm saying.
You're understanding this well enough that you're probably ready to do my role.
That's what I was saying, though. I was asking you about what you want to share with yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jason.
I'm talking about things.
Good. When Reed comes back, you can have a conversation with him if you like.
Oh, sir. I might have to move on because I don't know if I'm going to trip it.
The ticket on this side is Friday
I'm
till
on this
noon.
side. Yeah, till noon. I'm past noon.
You're past noon,
Yeah.
and then on Thursday it's 8 to 10 a.m. on that side.
Is there a time limit? Or no?
I don't know. I suggest checking the signs. I suck at checking the signs so bad that this year we have paid almost $400 in parking tickets because we really suck at checking signs, and we need to get a lot better at it because that's just going to kick my little financial ass if I keep doing something like that.
So wait, you have 1, 2, 3. You have more cameras.
We have 4 cameras. We have 4 cameras going on the live stream, and these are all just like tablets and phones. And then we've got some GoPros here.
Yep.
I'm going to turn this one off. And the GoPros are for edited YouTube.
Oh.
The GoPros have higher quality, and of course, we're recording locally. And for these cameras that are going out on live stream, we're obviously making some quality compromises in order to go out over cell phone.
Yeah.
And in this case, we're using 3 self-data accounts. This one has its own account, and this is an account that's operating 5 other devices. That camera.
Account on what?
T-Mobile.
Oh, okay.
The T-Mobile data account, T-Mobile data account.
Okay, got it.
And then on this one here, that phone is Reed's, and it's I think that's an AT&T data account. It's an iPhone. I think that's like AT&T. I don't know if that has to be AT&T or something, but anyway, I think that's what it is. So
basically, you got 2 cameras on each system. One's for live, one's for editing.
right.
Yep.
Right. So there's actually 8 cameras running, 4 in each setup.
What's the audio going important to?
The audio is being recorded by this mic and that mic. There's also see that remote mic? We can turn that one on channel 2, so we can walk around.
Where do they go in this mixer?
They go into this mixer. So here's the 3 channels for the 3 microphones. Mine, the remote, and yours. These channels aren't being used. This is the one that's coming back from.
That's the output.
This is the return from Discord.
Oh.
So this one's handling the audio going back and forth. So if you had this on, you'd have been able to hear people talking.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah, and it's okay. They weren't saying very much.
Okay.
Mostly they were typing. And then they're typing here. You can see the live show text. Like, this guy will have his SE channel in no time. His comment. Hi, Jason.
Hello. Wait,
So
somebody there right now?
yeah, there's as I said, there was like the last an hour ago, there were 7 people in one, 4 in another, so there was 15 people watching or something.
Oh, cool. Crazy.
Yep.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, we see you check the setup.
Oh, yeah, weird. Oh, wait,
That's my producer here. This guy.
Who's that guy? Is that the guy in Macedonia?
Yeah, that's the guy in Macedonia, North Macedonia.
Nice. You know,
It's an all volunteer crew, so we take you wherever you are.
dude, that is
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. So like if you scroll back, like here's the James Randi
absolutely,
thing,
yeah.
and then like here was the life you can save.
Yep.
Somebody brought that up.
Seller.
So they're talking about and talking back to us, and like for example, I have this claim. If I put the claim on, see how here it's got this. The question that you asked, what's an attribute of your personality you'd like to share with the world? That shows on screen.
How did you get that text on there?
I press that right here. This is streaming. This is again going through this data account.
But I didn't see you type it. You typed it on the computer?
No, they typed it.
Oh, someone else did.
Somebody else typed that for us when you asked the question.
Yep.
and then I just turned the claim function on, and it shows. Like if I had a confidence scale, you know, like we use this thing. I also have a confidence scale I can put up here, and I just type a number, and it puts it wherever on that scale on a 100 scale.
Oh, that's badass, dude.
Yeah, this is all FK's work. This is all the producers.
Cake work?
FK is his name.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Yep. And then I particularly like this layout where I have this camera up here and that camera and then the wide view.
Yeah, basically get a wide shot with a close up in each one, like a picture.
Yeah. And in this case, if you look closely, you'll see that that's like a speech bubble. It's a circle with a little line coming off of it, or a little angle coming off it. Like you're the one speaking or that.
Yeah.
And you'll see your names there.
Cool.
In that case, when you sat down, I typed guest space Jason, and it popped that, and that's all part of the bot that runs the show.
Dude, that's
Very
badass.
automated.
How'd you learn about all this?
FK does.
That's good.
Oh, me learn? No, I know audio. This is all FK's magic.
Dude, that's badass, man.
He is badass. And if you wanted to do an SE show, I think he's talking. Hold on. Go ahead. Yeah. Here. Yeah, they can hear through the speaker. We're doing free water and free speech today. It's amazing what we can do wirelessly now.
Yes, so he can hear me.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you for saying I kick butt, but basically we all kick butt, and actually it's a whole conversation. So
Yeah.
you need different people. You put these resources together. It's pretty damn cool.
Uh-huh.
Pretty spooky too, like.
Oh, it's
in a
amazing.
good way.
It's crazy spooky what we can do in 2020.
Now, of course, you want to be like a capitalist. Basically, you swap out these lenses with basically a thing, and then how are we going to get like a sponsor and keep the quality the same and make some money on this sucker?
Oh, we don't want to. Don't need to make any money on it.
Actually,
we're doing this for our own hobby kind of reasons.
Yep. Oh, I might speak.
Okay, go ahead.
It's all right. It's good. It's hobby and intentions are pure, but you could basically.
Yeah.
I just like the idea. I'm not sure how it turns out in the end, but it just makes you think.
Yeah. As FK says, you want to make it sustainable. Yeah, we agree.
Yeah.
We agree. Sustainability is important. I also have a little bit of a concern about polluting the intention if you put a profit motive in there.
Yeah.
Suddenly we'd be moving close to Steven Crowder.
Yep.
You familiar with him?
No.
Okay, he goes out there with the table sort of like this, and he says, change my mind or change my view. And he's doing interviews in a very similar style,
Yep.
but he's arguing for a position and wants to argue with people in public and challenge them and make them look stupid sometimes. And I don't think it's effective, but I do think it's entertaining.
Yeah, well, cheap thrills are.
Yeah, I want the effective more than the entertaining.
Yeah, sweet, dude. I can't believe it.
Yeah, it's fun.
Pretty cool. Nice. So I will have to look up this Discord to see what this thing is.
Yeah, check out the Discord.
Nice. Crazy, man. Yeah, all you need to do is I've got this camera at home actually, and I can just tell you actually.
Yeah.
If you were to use it costs more money, but basically there's a Sony camera. The thing stays on, but you need a shallow depth of field, 35 millimeter lens at like a 1.8, and it will look different. This is going to in good and wide and simple, but
yeah, I could go with SLRs. I have a pair of decent SLRs, but getting it to stream is non-trivial.
Yes.
And I don't want to have intimidating hardware.
Yeah, you want to keep it super simple.
Yeah, and given that we're talking about it's a really short range and really wide angle,
Yep.
this thing has This thing has a natural, really good depth of field to begin with.
Yep.
So
bad.
it's the one good thing that the cameras on these things are good for.
Yep.
Close up and wide angle.
Huh.
It's and that's good enough.
Crazy, man. I think it's so cool.
Yep.
And you know what's funny, actually? When you first sat down, or when you stood right here,
Yeah.
I said to you, should have said this in the camera thing, because I was like, are you affiliated with any
Right, you're
church?
standing there.
Are you selling
Do
anything?
you have any supernatural claims?
Yes.
Yeah,
Because that's what normally it is. It's
Yeah.
like, you're burning in hell, motherfucker, unless you believe this. I was
That's
like,
right.
Oh, God, here we go again.
Well, this kind of invite somebody to have a talk is a very good idea. Hardly surprising that people would take it up.
Well, it's true. A lot of people don't want to actually talk about those things. Once in a while, you talk to somebody.
Mhm.
If someone doesn't have a rational discussion and they're not on the same level, you can't really have a discussion. So
Yeah.
it's okay. People can have some zany beliefs, but a lot of people who are really kind of fundamentalists, they're just you can't even have a discussion because they're moving from an
Right.
agenda of trying to save your soul. If you don't agree with me, you're gonna rot in hell.
Yeah.
But dude, actually, what are we talking about here? So.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you're not.
We do have those conversations with people.
Yeah.
As you can imagine, maybe 30-40% of people sit down and they have a religious claim. And some of those people are just not going to be moved at all.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Chapter 7 of this book says if you're talking to somebody like that, don't worry about whether you're moving them. That's a small percentage chance. Take the time to learn how they think and how they speak.
Well, right. Yeah.
Just learn their position. And then the next time you have a conversation with somebody like that, it's going to be easier.
Yeah. Just as long as they're willing to have a conversation. Because lots of times it's almost like an attack. Like, Jesus.
Oh, I
Oh.
have an astonishingly thick skin now.
Yeah.
Go ahead. When I'm training in this stuff, I teach this stuff on the weekends. And I will often steel man a position, which is to say I will pretend to be whatever. I will try to represent whatever claim they ask me to represent,
Yep.
whether or not I believe it.
Well, that's a
And
good
I try to steel man it in that I try to make it look as good as I can and be as respectful to the people that hold that position as I can. And so I'm very practiced at pulling a Jerry Falwell on you.
Yeah. Nice. Another thing that might be interesting, same line, what the heck's the website? Is, God dang it, there's a good website. This has like a list of like 40 logical fallacies.
Sure,
It's
sure.
so good.
Lots of logical fallacies.
And so, I don't know.
By the way, calling out logical fallacies in real time doesn't help conversation at all.
No, no. It's,
I made reference to the. Okay. FK is asking if you would give contact information. They would like to stay in touch with you. Would you be willing to be contacted?
yeah, sure. How do I do that? What do you mean?
Oh,
Deal?
I got a Post-it note around here somewhere. Or you can send me an email. Kimberly, would you acquire me Post-it note and a Sharpie?
So weird. Are you here every single? You said Tuesday and Thursdays.
We're trying to do Tuesdays and Fridays, and this is our 4th show up, so this is only 2 weeks in.
Yep.
We have been doing this. We took a big break during COVID. We stopped doing this in March and just went online only
Yep.
Until like late September, when we figured out, okay, with these kind of precautions and these kind of this and everything, we can get a sufficient level of safety. We changed out our table for one that was quite a bit longer, so we got 2 meters distance, things like that. And then we've done Rose Bowl Park and Runyon Canyon Park, and we tried to do Venice the other day and had to get punched out of there. The film LA is a pain in the ass
Oh yeah. Well,
because
once you get a camera, they were like, "This is part of something."
it's like, oh my God, you have a tripod. What are you doing? Why do you think that you got in public with a tripod?
Well, and they think everyone's HBO and
Yeah, and they want $600 a day.
A lot of money, yeah.
And I'm like, no, can't do that. Absolutely not. My entire hobby this year has cost me only a few times that. You can choose those or any other claim you like. You can bring any claim you want.
Oh no, it's okay. I was just looking. Actually, the whole or the more than two genders actually this is a very hot button topic actually, but it's very fascinating. What the hell did I read about this? Pretty much there is basically two majority, but on a scientific level actually, at a certain level, certain people have this amount of testosterone or this amount of estrogen. And
Or androzone or androgen, if it's in the other. Yeah, they have different names for it depending on who it's in.
The only true way to really do it is to look at it from like a scientific manner, like that. But it gets real messy and real tricky. So like 95% of things are pretty good and clear, but there is
it's a bimodal distribution with people clustering very strong around here, but then examples from all over the weird place.
Yeah, it gets weird and really tricky quick actually. So those weird tricky things, it's very strange. But there's a lot of what the hell are the results? I don't know if it was in the 80s or what, but they used to have like these like women checks or whatever for like the Olympics because they want people to be for like sports and running it. And so basically, you know, you want to be respectful for people, but you can't have like a Iron Man like.
Yeah, if you've got it.
Whoa.
Fun, Kimberly. May I have your help?
Wind changed, I guess.
But yep.
Anyway, I'm much more happy with what we talked about. But
yeah.
So I'm guessing it's not hooked to the table.
It came unhooked from the table.
Okay.
Okay. Well, anyway, I'm gonna go check on my thing.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. My number or something or my email?
Yes, Kimberly. Do you have? You don't. Right.
I don't have.
Yep. I will find something.
Sorry, on the chair Reed was sitting in over there. There's a post-it note and.
On the what sitting over there?
The chair. Reed was sitting in.
Oh, okay. There's post-it note and Sharpie right there.
Okay. Write it on there.
Just write whatever contact information. Give it to Kimberly, and we're not going to put that on the live stream. Give it to me, and I'll DM it. We don't want to broadcast that on the live stream. Yeah, I think I failed to attach it properly. I did? Okay.
And the top has issues, but the anchor means it's a swivel.
Okay. Hey, Senator Kiwi.
And anything he's given you.
Uh-huh.
Got some more of this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All you want.
You need help
Take
with
all
that?
you want.
No, I got it. Yeah, these are also sanitary equipment.
I'm just gonna take this thing here. I put mine
On the pad?
Post it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So just hand it to me, and I'll get it to the people. Yes, thank you.
You know what's weird is that I watched this guy on Twitch. He's like doing like Lyft car rides or something, giving people. It wasn't that he didn't really have any conversations, same kind of thing. But you could do the same thing like this, like in a car almost. Like
I have a friend who does that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Another guy who runs a channel. His channel is Abstract Activist.
Yeah.
He's up in Portland, where they've got some serious shit going on. And he actually lives across from a police station in Portland.
Yeah.
So he is surrounded by some shit going on. And he does the Uber and Lyft thing, and has had about 300 conversations in his car.
Nice.
Doing SE with people. And he does a slightly different version of SE. Instead of asking you for a claim, he has a list of 24 questions about how you think about truth that we go through.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's the same idea that we're trying to dig down to what do you accept as data? What kind of authorities do you trust? Those, it's the same basic idea, but instead of basing it on a claim, it's just, here's a list of questions. And by the way, I have the questions available if you want them. Here's a list of questions, and what do you think about this? You know, like, is truth objective? Is truth subjective? It's so
true,
well,
different for different people.
yeah. It's that kind of
Morality
thing.
subjective.
So he does that, and it's great stuff. Yeah, would
In
you?
a car, crazy. That's cool, because yeah.
Yeah,
I watched
he was
that
doing it
guy's
in the
thing.
car before March.
Good. Well, thank
Yeah.
you very much. It's been fascinating.
Thank
I'm
you.
gonna have some more of this, but I touched that pen, it doesn't matter, but I can pretty much guarantee you I don't have COVID because I was in a car accident a couple weeks, in August. I went to physical therapy twice last week, 2 times. That place got shut down because somebody there had it. And I haven't seen anybody. I've been out. I got a test on Monday. Negative.
Nice.
So anyway,
Yeah.
anyway.
And hopefully, I'm acting as if I have it. I have no reason to think I do. In terms of my communicativeness to you with the mask and with the me washing of the everything before I'm touching everything. And I'm going to, since you didn't actually wear it, I don't have to, but normally I would grab one of these wipes and wipe the inside of the headset, things like that. Wipe the table in front of you, wipe the chair down.
I didn't even touch that either.
Right, you didn't even you didn't touch any of it.
So anyway.
And hopefully we're keeping the equipment really, really careful and safe. You see plastic over the keyboards.
Yes. It's pretty windy out here too. So that's the key.
That would help
Yeah, no, I'm
if dilution is the issue.
Yeah, it's pretty windy. So
Yeah, the wind is up. You all can't hear it because of these cool fake dead cats.